Okay, so continuing on from where we were, I'm going to show you how we can create a liquid simulation using the Tyflow plugin for 3ds Max. An example of what you might end up with is something that looks like this, where you see a progressive flow of water going down the terrain and sort of evaporating over time. Yeah, so I'll be showing you in this tutorial how you can get to something like that. So what you're going to want to do is open up the Tyflow plugin with the initial map you previously had, and from here we can start to build our liquid simulation. So what we want to do is first we want to usually turn off simulation, import that liquid terrain. I've also decreased the sort of size of my landscape down. The main thing that does is it just makes it a little bit faster, at least that's what I've found for simulating. So as my graphics card isn't that good, I need to do that. What I want to do is create an initial liquid height. For my current height, I want it to go about halfway up. The total height is changed to 10 meters, so I'm going to go 5 meters. I want it to go relatively quickly, so I might increase this flow rate up to, let's say, 6. I also want to check initial depth. We can just use 0.1 meter for now, it's not super important. The other thing I want to do is have evaporation set on to something quite low, like 0.1. That will allow it to sort of flow down and the water gets taken away over time. That's how what you saw at the start. Otherwise it'll sort of act like essentially just a flat plane through the terrain and won't really change. It can occasionally change if you've got lots of pockets throughout, and it'll sort of flow down that terrain. However, for the terrain we've got now, the evaporation rate will help that, help us get that sort of look that we saw in the initial simulation that I showed. Yeah, so once we've got all that set up, we can set our time to 0 in the animation time here. I've got it set to 300. You probably won't need that many steps, however I just did that to test. Yeah, so set it to 0, otherwise it's going to simulate everything up to the point where you've got your sort of timeline set to initially, and that just slows stuff down. So we can now turn the simulation on, and we see we've started our simulation of the terrain and water. And you can see some of the little movement of it already beginning on frame 1 as it sort of pre-rolls a couple of iterations initially. So we can start clicking through the frames, and we'll start to see that evaporation helping and the terrain and water sort of flowing down along that terrain as it progressively gets evaporated. And you see what we get through this is we find some of those little valleys in this natural terrain where there would be rivers naturally. So it's quite fun, quite a good little simulation to learn how to do. Yeah, that's my Tyflow liquid simulation tutorial. Thanks for watching.